Welcome, everybody, to Midday Magazine for this Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. Have your host, James J. Malouf here. In part two, today we're going to talk to our friend Christy from the Hannah Center. They got a bunch of great events coming up. We're looking forward to talking with her. Right now, we have a couple of great friends in studio with us. One, Wisconsin Rapids Mayor Matt Zacher. Matt, good to see you.
Thanks for having me again, James.
Always good to have you with us. And, of course, our friends Joe and the gang over at Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. We say a big shout-out to them. Like and subscribe to their page. Go to YouTube and keep up to date on all the great things they are doing there and all over Facebook and other social media. Keep up to date and support the work that they are doing. Matt, how you doing? How are things going?
Everything's going well.
Good.
Again, still in probably the honeymoon phase, but getting to know people real well and, just keeping my feet set and learning what I need to do so I can move forward in the best interest of the city. So learning fast, though. Learning fast.
It's interesting, I guess, if you went back in the history of Wisconsin Rapids mayors, you're going to see a number of times these things happening. But whether it is where Shane Blazer walking into a big thing with the pandemic and some of those, and for yourself coming in with I would say that we are certainly doing better, but still have the remnants of that still going on in our community. And then something that is gigantic in this community, the mill, and what was going to happen with that and where direction that's going. You come walk in and boom, there's that who's waiting for you. I'm sure, imagine every mayor has their, big albatrosses or things that they have to tackle. But, for our last couple of mayors, I think it's been pretty impressive to see what has been going on. And currently what is going on with the mill, I've heard a lot of positive feedback from our community, some of our business leaders. When it comes to the mill, what is the most recent update on that as far as the past couple of weeks and what's been going on with it?
Yeah, so just to kind of touch on what you first started with there's a lot of things that happen that the mayor has really no control over. And so Shane walking in when he did at that time, pandemic, who'd have guessed? Yeah. And then the mill shutting down almost because of the slowdown in the world. Nobody would have guessed that, even though it's, to some degree things were changing over the last, decade with the mill. Then for me to be able to come in at a time when the mill was then sold to CRG with the understanding that they were going to figure out what they needed to do to redevelop it into what we're calling now an industrial park. And so in the end, people are saying, great job to me. And I say, you know what, this has to do with so many moving pieces that I am just a part of. And my goal in the end is to just make sure that every bridge is built in order to make sure that because in the end, it's a contract and everybody has to sign it in order to move forward. So whatever would come up, I've kind of said it before, like it was kind of like poetry in motion in a way, because there's so many voices, so many big interests, and be able to keep narrowing it down until boom, everybody signed the paper and moved forward. And they allowed us some concessions as a city to have some safeguards if MRD, who's Jerry, the owner out of Milwaukee, great company. They have a great history on what they've done, so we expect great things for them. CRG has a great history with what they've done. They brought on Glenn Gilbert to be the go-between. It was Sue Schill, Kyle Kearns, everybody that was just a part of this in order to make it all happen. And you get the bond companies, the insurance companies, and it was just amazing to see. And in the end, it's a happy, sad ending. The happy part is we're moving forward as a community. We're going to be able to have this land back. The sad part to it is people put their life and blood, sweat, and tears into building that craft mill. And for that, I have sympathy, or even empathy in the sense of I've built a business. Granted, it has no scale in terms of what we're talking about here. And if you walk through what they built, it's just phenomenal, the amount of money and ingenuity and know-how to go into building that. For those folks that are in the community now or not in the community that were a part of that process, my heart does go out to them. And I say thank you to them for everything they did do to bring, for that 100-year period, and all the generations that went into that is just phenomenal. And the simple fact that could be built, and within a few decades, everything changes. Nobody would have guessed that. So again, happy, sad. happy that
Yeah.
we can move on and that people are giving me the leeway to bring that news to the community and be excited about the future of that land and the industry that's going to be coming. Once that is down and completely removed, we'll have about 230 acres of industrial sites to build on. We have the electricity waiting for these new industries to build in. They'll bring employment as much as we can get. They'll bring new employment opportunities, and then the schools, MSTC will be, finding out how to help educate people to fill those positions. So it's kind of it's a win-win all the way around, and we just have to stay positive and think about the great things to come, because that in the end is life. Nothing ever stays the same forever, and we are very ingenuitive and creative and resilient, and we move forward.
And when's the last project, from big or small, that got done with negativity? Like, when's the last time you saw something accomplished with people being negative?
Oh, I understand what you're saying.
It doesn't happen. As far as your point with positivity and having a good spirit about this or anything that we're talking about today, or anything going on in society and period. Like, I really challenge people to ask yourselves, when's the last time something was accomplished with people being negative, with people being, that naysayers or anything like that? Nothing gets done that way.
Well, and as much as I talked about, like, coming in my head, I'm like, I want to do what I can to build bridges for everyone, but I'm only human, and that negativity just beats the energy out of you to the point where you become ineffective. And I feel for the people who live in the negative world, and my assumption is they were kind of brought up that way, and then the things that they've have happened in their life have kind of built that. And I, again, for whenever those people want to reach out and talk, I'm more than happy to have a conversation, but I'm not going to let that negative side of life bring us down. And it's something we battle all the time, if you want to call it a spiritual realm or whatever. It's always good versus evil, happy versus sad, the world of relativity. It is what it is, but you can't live in that world if you want to progress. It's
a great point to bring up too, and especially in a political season like this, where the person that goes into the job and is a reacting kind of thing, and certainly with some ideas, but there is only so much that you can control and so much you can do, and there are so many things that happen out of your control. I think it's really important to note that we almost associate politicians with events in certain things, and there is only so much that can be controlled in certain ways, and it's a good thing to note about that too. And as far as the mill goes and the cleanup of that, some of the work being done there, you mentioned the amount of space there that's going to be available for businesses. Do we have already something established to take over that space? Are there businesses reaching out already currently trying to, like, hey, what's going on over there? It looks like a nice spot over there. Anything like that going on?
Yeah, so this is some of the stuff I've learned in the last 4 or 5 months since I've been in office now. So, again, I know there's a lot of people that got frustrated with the community development department, i.e. Kyle Kearns and the inspectors that are there. In the end, what we're asking them to do is a really tough job. We're saying, help our community grow, help our economy grow. But then at the same time, tell everybody what they can and can't do in order to make that happen. And so some way, somehow, I'd like to figure out if I can separate those two. But ultimately, that's the job of the government. We've been elected over the years to make votes, and people have voted in these new codes, these new zoning things in order to beautify. Like, everybody complains about how bad A Street is, but the only way you can change A Street is to set up a new zoning code in order to say we're going to beautify it as people are building new. Granted, I know the frustration is coffee shops and car washes, but at the same time, if they can get market share, they wouldn't be investing their money if they couldn't, and they're putting in green space and making it look nice. It is what it is, as long as they follow the paperwork or, the rules that are there. So if we want A Street to look better, which we all do, I know that, then it has to start one property at a time as they redevelop it. And that's where those zoning regulations come in, and people can get real frustrated and say, you can't tell me what to do. You're just you're the government. And we're like, yeah, but we all agreed to follow these rules that we've kind of agreed to when we move into the city, because that's the city that has the rules. So again, I reach out to those people as much as I can and say, hey, as Matt Zacher, business owner, resident, how can I help you? I just want to help because I like ideas. I like to help people come up with stuff. I realized I didn't realize this, but I do now, as soon as you become mayor and take on that title, it does change the way people see you and view you. Not you personally, but the role itself becomes very much, it's a respect thing, but also I'm going to the top to, hit the punching bag because I can't get anything else done any other way. And again, I respect that, but at the same time, I can't put the city into chaos by giving everybody their own rules and doing whatever they want. And I'm going to lose the faith of the city itself and the residents and businesses pretty quick if I do that. So it is moving along well. And to answer your question on the mill itself, people are talking that gets marketed from our community to the state level, region level, state level, to the country level, to the world level. When it comes to this sizable developments, everybody knows, and it comes down that there's not that many businesses that have the kind of money that can invest in this kind of an area. And those are the folks that are looking. And yes, it's there. Those are all the things that I have to say up. I'm limited in what I can say about it until stuff kind of comes to fruition. But yes, it's very exciting about what's coming. The 16 building and machine are always going to be a little bit of an outlier, but I'm excited about those things too and the conversations that are happening around that at this time.
To your point of the land and moving into a community and some of those things, we learned this at a young age. This land is your land. This land is my land. It's all of ours. Like, we share it together and everything. It's not just a one size fits all kind of thing.
Agreed.
Speaking with Wisconsin Rapids Mayor Matt Zacher, and Matt, I wanted to talk a little bit about the railroad relocation and some of that going on right now. One of the bigger topics in our community.
Yeah, so right now this has kind of made its way over the last month and a half into the council in order to get their input and ultimately their agreement to move forward on certain things. And what this was is a federal program for rail relocations. And so I saw it and just kind of came across. I was never an email guy, but all of a sudden I got hundreds of emails every day coming through. So I saw this one, passed it on to the folks that know more than I know in the city about what this all entails. We started putting the pieces together. Ultimately, what it came down to at first was grade separation on Grand Avenue. We kind of came to the conclusion pretty quick that if we do that, we can never move that rail. And to me, that rail has been... I'm kind of saying right now it's got like a stranglehold on that west side, and I think we need to get that off of their ability to develop and investments and stuff like that. And so what happened then is we switched gears, talked to the grant writing company and said, we want to write a grant for relocating this track, but we need more time to do it. They said, let's write a grant for the planning phase of it. So the planning is just that, it's planning. So in order to get that done, Joe Eichstead worked on that with the planning group AIRS, and my task was to reach out to everybody that would be touched by this and attempt to get them to give us a letter of support to say, yes, we agree. And my selling point was, one, we're not asking for money, and two, we're not asking for commitment. What we're asking for is a conversation to just see what the possibilities are, because in reality, that track that goes around there, it has one spur on it from Port Edwards all the way to the track back by Dura Beauty Lane back there. It has one spur, and that is for General Chemical or Chemtrade. I've been working with those guys. They all are interested in understanding what's possible. So I'm still in conversation with them. But again, we have a chemical factory that is right on the edge of a residential facility. We're working with chemical cars coming through and affecting thousands of people every day from Port Edwards all the way up here through our side, Grand Avenue and even High Street. So right now we have 2 letters of support. Our deadline is it's kind of like Thursday afternoon is when we're getting it in. We have a little bit of leeway, but we'll see what happens. I'm waiting on 2 more letters to see if I can get them. If not, we're still submitting it. And we're looking at taking this entire track out here, if at all possible. That's 10 road crossings that we would change with just one that would come through if things work out this way, some other land that county may own, and we'll be having those conversations. And again, this has all been talked about through the city council meetings, so it's all kind of public information as we go along. And since I've been here, it's been in the conversation ever since. So if we can make this happen, it's going to do amazing things for the community on the west side and the emergency services and the people that live there. So
Two quick questions. One, you kind of answered this a little bit, but so when you were asking for those letters from businesses, just trying to get the conversation going, get the ball rolling, you said you've gotten two. Have you heard back, or are you getting positive feedback from those businesses about this project or the idea?
Let me clarify that. So we got them the letters of support from multiple county organizations. We got the Wisconsin DOT letter of support. We got I'm still working on CN Railroad, but the conversations are really positive. And again, we have time for that. Port Edwards and their school district, Village of, have sent them in. Seneca has sent them in. Wisconsin Rapids obviously has sent them in. ERCO Worldwide has sent theirs in because they'll be affected by this to some degree. So we're really working with CN Railroad and Chemtrade at this time. And again, the conversations are good. It's just a matter of they're big companies, so it's, you gotta
takes a while
get somebody
sometimes too.
That'll say
getting somebody on the phone could be
the letter.
difficult these days.
But at the same time, I pleasantly persistent mode of operation hopefully is chipping away, and we'll be able to get those done because it's a huge project that I think everybody buys into. So.
You're the third mayor I've had the honor to be able to interview and talk to and get to know and everything. And if there is a consistency, it is the train system and what we do about that and where we're going to go with that. This is as far as I've ever heard this topic get, though. I've never heard us get to this stage where we're actually talking about doing something really. Like there's plenty of times where we've talked about the trains, but it always comes down to the same thing and the same answer. Oh. This is the first time I've ever actually heard like this is a big step.
Well, again, I don't take. This isn't about me. This is about everybody else that has to get involved in order to make it happen. But I guess I have learned over life, and I've gone through this, cycles depending on where you are in life. Like more of like can we do it all together in group work, whatever you want to call that, socialism. But then people get scared versus capitalism, private sector, public sector, and I look at it now and say, if somebody doesn't take the ball and run, if nobody's leading, if one person isn't leading, then really nobody's leading. That's what I've come to in life. So even if it's a group effort, somebody's still got to keep pushing. So if I serve anything here, it's just that purpose of just being annoying enough to keep everybody going, but not so annoying that they tell me to go away. So
it's a good balance. It's a good place to be with that. We only have a handful of minutes left, so some of the bigger things I want to get into next time that we get a chance to talk, and we've got some time with some of those topics. So as far as right now, I know that you're coming into this or into today, coming out of a number of committees and meetings that we've had in the last couple of days. Any headlines from the latest committees that we've had that stand out to you or anything? Anything at all? No, none at all. No. All right.
I know everybody's got stuff going, and there's actually some interesting stuff going on right now about do we have the council get more involved in some of the committee stuff? And again, I can go either way on stuff. I respect the fact that there's so many people in our community, and I appreciate the fact that people are stepping up left and right to fill the commissions and the councils that are there and the boards, because it's not easy, and you're taking time out of your personal life, and that is more and more of a struggle these days. But people are stepping up, and I only have a few positions that I still have to get filled. Granted, it's a revolving door all the time, but I guess I would like to take a moment to say thank you to everybody that is committing their time, volunteering their time to be a part of the decision-making process and everything we do in the community to make it a thriving, happy community. And for those who are on the fence or don't know anything about it, reach out to me or the city and anybody and talk about what the possibilities are, because if we don't do it, nobody else is going to do it for us, and then things start to fall apart, and we don't want that. We like our community strong and healthy.
I don't know if that was a good question or not, but I love the reaction I got from you. Like, I get that reaction very often. I'll take it. Matt, we do want to give people a bit of a construction update on that and everything. Touch on that a little bit before we wrap up.
Yeah, I just want to, I know it was a point of frustration for a lot of folks, that Lincoln Street project that we had in the works. It took a little longer. There was a lot of pieces that weren't foreseen as that project was coming together, but it did come together from Chestnut all the way down to Grand, and it the road is beautiful. So it came out right. We did have to stay closed all the way up to Quick Trip for a while because there was some stuff that wasn't done right, and if we let it stay that way, it would have deteriorated the road really quick. So we had to go ahead and wait and get that fixed, and now that's up to speed and it's wide open. Everybody's happy again. Again, thank you for your patience on that. Everything else is up to speed right now, and they're making progress on some smaller projects that we were hoping to get to. So we look forward to great roads. And again, everybody bear with us on the state roads like A Street. That's something that's out there, and we all know, we all hate it. And we're working with the city every day to try to put some pressure on to get it done as soon as possible. So
big thank you to all of our construction workers out there and everybody that's been slowing down and keeping safe and making sure that they can do their job and continue to do that as we wrap up orange cone season here and everything.
Yeah,
and end it strong. Sir, if people have follow-up questions, want to know more about some of what we talked about today, how can they get in touch with you?
Again, my number is the easiest one I remember, 715-321-0727. You can call me at the office anytime. They'll get you in touch with me. I'll come visit you where you're at. I'm out in the community more than I'm sitting around waiting for things to happen. I think that's important for me to be a part. So if you need me, let me know.
And find out more at wirapids.org, wirapids.org. Be sure to follow them on social media as well. Be sure to follow our friends at Wisconsin Rapids Community Media's YouTube page. It's a great way to keep up to date with everything going on in our community. Follow them on social media as well. A big shout out to them, and a big thank you to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll talk next month.
Thanks, James. Appreciate the time. Have a good week.
You too. We'll have more Midday Magazine coming up for you right here at 97.5 FM, 1320 AM, WFHR, locally grown radio.